Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to askNK. Today we have some interesting updates coming from the folks at Blender Foundation, and it is the fact that Cycles is now 10 years old. So the future of rendering in Blender is actually very exciting, and for those who would like to read a blog about this, I'm going to put a link in the description where you can check it out. So finally we get to see a presentation that talks about Cycles X. The whole hype about the X thing deals with the fact that 10 years now Cycles was made and it was released to the public. So you can read up about this, see the very early progress of Cycles, take a look at the demo, the whole idea of integrating Cycles into Blender, just in case you want to reminisce about old times. This is definitely going to be worth your time. Now, for those who are also excited about seeing the whole new cool things that might be coming to Cycles X, although the name X is more like a code name, and with the release of Blender 2.83, we did see a whole lot of updates that deals with optics, viewport denoising. There was a couple of shader nodes that we got to see, and we did get volumetric rendering. So this is also some very lovely and impressive improvements that made their way to Cycles. You want to see all the things that deals with GPU and how you can play with optics and new shader nodes. Of course, link to that is going to be in the description so you can check it out. Although Cycles have actually evolved over time, and you might be asking, what is a brand new thing that we're coming over to Cycles X? The major part of this entire project is, first of all, they want to refresh the architecture and prepare Cycles for the next 10 years. They're looking at ways to optimize it and also solve mostly the problems that a lot of people face with Cycles, rather than just make tiny updates over time. So the project deals with a couple of things, which is, first of all, future-proofing and improving how Cycles actually works, and they're looking at the ways that people get to work with it in terms of usability of viewport and also batch rendering, and more than necessary, they are looking at performance. So how will they improve the performance of Cycles in relation to new CPUs and also new GPUs? At the same time, they're trying to introduce a brand new rendering algorithm, which will definitely make the whole workflow and also make Cycles itself better. And for those who would like to take a look at the code, maybe you want to see the progress of Cycles from day one of conception right here to where we have the Cycles X branch, you can go over to this link and it's going to bring you over to the history section. For anyone who wants to actually follow up with the history, you want to see some of the updates, you want to see things happening with the whole Cycles X project, and you want to check out that branch, you can simply also follow that link. I definitely will put that in the description so you can check it out. Meanwhile, there is a GitHub page where you can go to. Actually, it's a Git page, so you can go there and you can check out and see some of the updates that's been going on, and you can actually see 35 minutes ago there was an update. So you might be asking, what is the brand new thing? What are the comparisons with what we have now? And so right here you would notice that we have a couple of scenes. These are the very popular scenes that you can get within the demo page. So I'll also put a link in the description where you can check out the BMW, the classroom, and the monster and barbershop and all that stuff. So you would notice that we have a Quadro RTX 6000 and also a Quadro RTX A6000. And the A6000 is a brand new card that the folks at NVIDIA just released recently. So just in case you want to read more about it, you want to see it, I'm going to put a link in the description that'll take you over to the page where you can see that one as well. So what we have here is a comparison between the Master and Cycles X. By default, the Master is the vanilla version of Cycles, while Cycles X is the current project that they're working on right now. Now, one thing to also keep in mind is all of the scenes, they are exactly the same thing that you get once you download it. The only difference with the scenes that were tested were things like volumetrics have been taken off all of them. So if you take a look at the Quadro RTX 6000, when you use optics, you would notice that we have lesser render times when working with Cycles, and the same thing happens when you look at the RTX A6000. The comparison actually even gets a bit more interesting when you proceed to look at CUDA versus optics. Of course, we already know that optics is way faster and sort of better for rendering compared to what we have with CUDA, and this is just one of those things that makes a lot of sense when using Cycles right now. You might also consider taking a look at some of the CPU viewport rendering. You can also take a look at the comparison that deals with the default CPU rendering with the basic Cycles, which you have, the vanilla Cycles, and you can also see what Cycles X is actually doing, and that is also something that you can compare with the open image denoiser. So with the open image denoiser, you would also notice that side by side we're getting even faster results and better results with Cycles X, and at the same time, if you also take a look at the GPU, you'd also notice we're getting faster results while simply using the Cycles X. Once you turn on the viewport adaptive sampling, you would also get to notice that we're having some sort of quick feedback back and forth while working with the Cycles X compared to what we have with the vanilla Cycles. And for sure, if you take a look at the both scenes that we have, when you turn on the viewport adaptive sampling, in comparison, you would notice we'll have a much more faster render time by simply using the Cycles X compared to what we currently have in Cycles. Now moving forward, in coming months, they're looking at increasing the optimization and bringing in more ideas. So right now, some functionalities might, be missing, and this is because they are trying to look for a newer approach to address some of these things. And some of the things that they're looking at ways to address include the volume rendering. Of course, that is the main reason why all of the scenes that were tested, the volumes got to be removed, and they are looking at ways to also try different algorithms for things like shadow catcher and accounts for indirect lighting. And for multi-device rendering, they're looking at experimenting on more fine-grained load balancing without tiles. So these are some very cool stuff, but we do have some things that we'll be leaving. So with all this good stuff coming, there are certain things that will be deprecated, and the OpenCL rendering canal seems to be one of them. There's also the branch path tracing and NLM denoiser. Of course, for the OpenCL rendering canal, they are currently working with AMD and Intel so that those who have this graphic card can take advantage of Cycles and get better results. Although these features and all of these things that probably will be deprecated with newer versions of Cycles, especially with Cycles X, they will still remain as supported features and also supported things that you can work with in Blender 2.83 and also Blender 2.93 LTS series. And hopefully, we don't know, but maybe Cycles X is going to be coming with Blender 3. So we just simply need to keep our fingers crossed, believe that these things get to work, and we will be seeing some very good results at the end of the day. And as well, the folks at Blender Foundation are saying that they would actually start doing some testing once this is available by pushing these things as branches. I kind of guess that these might be moved over to branches like this, where you can see some experimental branches. And for those who don't know how to get here, if you go over to your Blender page, you go over to your daily builds, you will actually click on experimental branch, and that will bring you right here. So hopefully that might be, showing here. And if it doesn't show up here, then the next place you'll probably be seeing this is at the graphic all. But either ways, if this doesn't make it over to these places, then of course we'll actually look at it up right here within the Git page. So this is more like it. For those who like to read more about this, you want to see some of the cool things that's been happening in Blender, or maybe you want to grab the demo scenes, you can actually go through, grab these demo scenes and start testing out your renders by yourself. Tell me what you guys think about this one in the comment section. And of course, if you like this video or you learned something from this, you can go ahead and give it a like, and don't forget to share with a friend. And if you're new here, it's going to be amazing for you to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so that you don't miss the next video or the next update. And until I see you guys again with a tutorial update, Free Friday, Tutorial Tuesday, tips and tricks, things like this. Peace.